Happy Saturday. Today's question. Happy Saturday, everyone. Today's question is from at I am Ty Scott King. That's Scott with two T's. Okay, so Ty asked, Hey Glow, how do you balance being authentic with being strategic as a creative? I love this question because I think so much of authenticity that we see on social media now is overly strategic to the point where it no longer feels authentic. So there is an art and a science to balancing authenticity. So let's talk about this. Okay. So the first part of the question, how do you balance being authentic? So when I think about authentic content, it's not something where I am actively trying to say, okay, does this feel vulnerable? Does this feel authentic to who I am? Does this feel aligned? I am posting so much that I am exercising the muscle of what feels true to me and what feels aligned. When you are operating from a place of alignment, you're not having to always think about, you don't have to always think about authenticity and how things are coming across. And when I think of the balance of authentic content versus strategic content, the thing about strategy is oftentimes what is the most strategic about popular personal brands isn't even it's not something that people notice. As an example, I'm not going to, say who this is, but because I have a marketing brain and because my formal background and education is in marketing, I can always spot when a personal brand is strategically being authentic. Sounds weird to say out loud, but this person, or I mean, there are many people that do this, but they live and have incredible lives. They are successful, they are um, beautiful, they are happily married, some of them. Um, Everything from the outside looks picture perfect. And most people would be, I don't want to say envious, but most people might look up to someone who has everything together. Their kids well behaved, well dressed, all of their family pictures look very posed and all that stuff. So from the outside looking in, that could be looked at as strategic that they are, putting off a very perfect persona. Um, but the authentic part or the manufactured authenticity is when they sprinkle in the flaw like every few posts to remind people that they're human. And, it's not bad. It's just I clock it because I can tell that, if you appear too perfect, and this is, just a side note, if you are trying to build a personal brand, if you appear too perfect, people will hate you. And that sucks. And it's not that anyone is perfect, but if they feel like so much of your life is figured out, they will begin to resent you. Not just strangers on the internet, but friends in real life. Because there's something about um, having figured out pieces of your life that most people struggle with, or having a gift that comes natural where most people have to struggle or invest to develop that same skill. And the unfortunate thing about humanity and people is that we envy those who have some of the things that we desire, especially if we feel like they didn't earn it or work for it. So, okay, back to that, example. If someone knows that the public persona or perception of them is that they live a great life and everything is going well for them, they will strategically sprinkle in their flaws. Maybe they have an elderly parent that is sick and so they have to be caretakers. They're showing like, oh well, not all my time is free because I'm also a caretaker and I'm going through a parent is battling a sickness and so therefore I'm just like you. I struggle just like you are, and you know that's one element. Another could be, oh, they might have like the perfect body, but they will strategically show stretch marks. Um, what do you call it? Uh, Cellulite. And they'll just sprinkle that in just enough times for you to be like, okay, I don't hate them. Okay, they're just like me. Okay, they're human. And one more example is someone who, and again, I'm using random examples, so you can't try to figure out, piece together the puzzle. These are just things that I'm thinking of on the fly. Um, yeah, like a woman who is incredibly successful, incredibly beautiful, incredibly in shape. She might remind people constantly that she's single. And again, I clock it. I'm like, oh, it's so, I'm actually impressed when I see it because I'm like, oh, that's very strategic. It's very smart to do this. And as a consumer, you might be like, wait, Chloe, really? People do that? Yes. I'm someone that I've been working in personal branding for over 2 decades. I see, work, study, like this is my world. So for me, it's not, crazy to see how people do this or why they pull it off, but it does make sense, especially if your full-time income is online or social media or it's front facing. So yeah, and these people are building six, seven, and eight figure businesses, empires, and personal brands from it. So of course, they wouldn't talk about how they're doing it. Okay, so now that I've given you that ultimate disclaimer, sorry to burst anyone's bubble. Um, I would say my approach to authenticity and strategy is okay. Let me talk about a strategy that I'm currently doing. Well, I mean, let's make it super meta. I'm posting on YouTube every day for a year. And when I started this, I did not I don't even think I saw myself doing this for a year. On yesterday's video, I talked about how YouTube was a place that I abandoned constantly and randomly, and I had no desire to figure it out. I also saw this pattern of YouTubers that would blow up and then they would make I quit YouTube videos, like maybe there was like a 3 to 5 year arc where, eventually everyone would make a lot of money or get a lot of subscribers and then leave or be burnt out by YouTube. So when I saw that, I realized, okay, um, how is everyone approaching this platform? And is it the only thing that they have going on? And I'm mindful if I am someone where, my main business model, let's say, I think I talked about this already, but like if 40% of my income is digital products, that takes no active time. It means I've built it once and it earns forever in the background. If another percentage, like 20 to 30%, is events, live hosting retreats, boot camps, masterminds, all that stuff, then that means that time spent on that is for the time that I'm there and actively hosting. For example, I'm in the middle of a VIP weekend, so that fulfillment looks different. But when I'm not doing either of those, and let's say it's 20% speaking engagements and random gigs, which I did a speaking engagement a couple weeks ago virtually, and I do about 1 to 2 a month, and those are really nice. But beyond that, I have a lot of like space and capacity to just create. And so when I realized I took a solo vacation to Montenegro and I was just every day I woke up and I did like a 3 mile walk. The beach was right there. So I walked to the water and I just kind of like sat with nature and just really appreciated like the beauty of the world and just was reading in the mornings, had really slow, I'm talking like a 3 to 4 hour morning routine. When I first read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, it was like 2021. But yeah, I really meticulously built out this morning routine that was intentionally slow. So if I was waking up at 4:30 to 5, I was like getting my day started by 9. And in that 4 hour space, no one needed me, no one could reach me. And I felt like I could really just pour into myself. So it's super important to have seasons where you're just kind of off and you're pouring into yourself. And yeah, so I say all that to say when I'm like on a regular basis, not hosting, not doing anything, um, there's a lot of space. And so I started to, yeah, use that space, pour back into myself, kind of figure out, well, what do I want to do with all of this time and energy? Met with a couple book publishers. I'm like, okay, a book is coming, great. But I also felt so inspired. Like I saw a shift happening on social media. I saw a spike in people complaining. And something that I always say to my clients, complaints are cues for deeper ways to serve. So if someone or people or a platform has the same complaint, that's my cue, ding, 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 show up, glow, and serve, and show them that there's another reframe or perspective. And a lot of people, I would say the majority of people are just naturally negative. I think this is maybe our human nature is to always see the flaw, to always complain, to always wish that things were easier. And I don't know that I've ever been that person. I love the challenge. I also love work. I was talking to Kathy the other day about like the soft girl era. I was like, I never really, I could appreciate it. And maybe I have my soft girl moments like when I'm with Stefan, but I really enjoy working. And I think because I've taken so much time to get to a place where work was something that I loved, where I built a business around a lifestyle that I loved, or I made sure my lifestyle supported my business, or sorry, vice versa. Um, I'm fulfilled working. I'm fulfilled showing up. I'm fulfilled creating content. So yeah, I'm mindful that I am in the minority when it comes to that. So from that place of fulfillment, I can pour and give and exist very generously because I'm not scraping by. I'm not doing things so transactionally. I'm not only showing up when I have something to sell. And yeah, so back to the reason why I brought this up is like, okay, when I was going to relaunch the Creative Reset, I was like, okay, obviously working on a launch strategy, like what makes sense. I could do an IG live, I could yeah, post on Instagram, I could just do the usual. But I was like, I want to try something different. And all of my most successful launches, I've always said, I'm gonna try something different. So I want you to write that phrase down. I'm gonna try something different because that is so permissive. I never feel trapped by one way of doing anything. There is no one way for me to show up online. I don't know if you could hear the church bells in the background. There is no one way for me to do anything. And so it's very freeing for me. And I'm able to just, yeah, like have fun and play around with, I'll wait for the bells to stop. Mm. Ooh, this is nice. There's no one way for me to do anything. And so that is very freeing for me. So with YouTube, I was in where were we at? Costa Rica with my friends, and we were having like a mastermind, and it was me, Vanessa Lau, Zaylee Barkley, Ari Belgrave, and Courtney Allen. And we were all there. We all have personal brands. We all run pretty much high six-figure or seven-figure companies. And so we were all talking about the platforms that we wanted to just, you know, show up more strategically on or give a better chance to. And I always said like YouTube and LinkedIn, like those are my weakest platforms. And where I also know I have my people. I am a YouTuber. No. Well, yes, rewind. I am a YouTube consumer. I like to create based on what I consume. So if I, for the majority of my day, let's say I'm by myself or with Stefan, for most of our, I don't know, we love to watch podcast conversations. We love to watch smart people talk. So we constantly have like things playing in the background of like just intelligent conversations. And then we discuss it over lunch or we just, we pause it and be like, ooh, what about this? And we talk about how we can implement it in our business. So I know how much podcasts, conversations, and YouTube videos have helped me just in changing how I think or getting a better understanding of how the market is moving. And for me, that doesn't feel like a work, it doesn't feel annoying. I don't get upset that things are changing. I love the evolution and the growth of all of this digital commerce space. Um, I think it's incredible. The creator economy is something that, yeah, people continue to say it's multi-billion. It'll be worth $1 trillion someday. And I can't wait for you who's watching this to get a slice of that. So, yeah, LinkedIn and YouTube. I knew that those were my weakest platforms, but I also didn't want to approach either of them with this overly optimized strategy. There's something about strategy sometimes that feels forced. And I'm someone I consider myself a creative strategist in many ways because the strategies that I implement aren't like most people. I'm willing to do a little bit of like have a guerrilla approach, guerrilla marketing, and that allows me to have fun, but also test and test quickly. So within 30 days, this is now my 31st video of this month, I'm getting 30 videos worth of data in, I mean, someone else who does maybe a weekly video, they would have 52 videos, 52 like files of data from those videos, whereas I can get that in 6 to 8 weeks. And so I just look at the scale of data and feedback, and I just see the opportunity in that. And something that I think is important for anyone who is trying to build something for themselves, especially online, is recognizing where you can do things better or bigger than others. I am not here to be like, there is no lighting, there is no mic. Like, you saw some of the videos that were zooming in and out. I didn't know what was going on, but I'm glad I got it turned off. I am not uh, concerned with how clear or crisp my video looks because the message is all that matters. And because I can show up here sustainably, set up this whole my laptop, my iPhone that I'm recording on, I could set it up in 2 minutes. It allows me to not waste any brain space or capacity on any of that. I can just focus on the message. There is no script, there's no teleprompter. I can speak from the heart and download thoughts and ideas seamlessly because this is what I do for fun. So this is, yeah. Okay, so when it came to LinkedIn, I told myself I'm going to repurpose more. I still don't know the type of audience or community that I want to build on LinkedIn. Right now, it's all of my college professors and my college classmates. So it still feels a little bit awkward for me to be raw entrepreneurship there because most of them, not many of them are entrepreneurs. So I'm still trying to figure out, okay, how do I hold space for the people that follow me there, but kind of let them know this is who I'm going to be. And if you need to unfollow, please do. Because I have a very specific version of myself that I want to show up on LinkedIn with. I also have recognized that LinkedIn is rewarding creators and thought leaders and people who are frequent posters on that platform. So I want to be like Chloe C or Chloe She, CHLOE dot SHIH. I believe that's her Instagram. Please check her out. She went viral and gained about 1 million Instagram followers in a couple months off of this 30 by 30 series. I think she's incredibly smart, very um, just brilliant, very creative. Yeah, just really good at what she does. And she's the person that I first saw become like a LinkedIn top voice. And I was like, oh, that's a thing. Sometimes just knowing that a thing exists inspires you to go get that thing. And I started this year not having many goals. I was talking about that just now with Andy and Kathy from our Life Leap community. And I really like when you're content at every level, sometimes it's a blessing and a curse because you don't desire massive fame or massive wealth. You're appreciative of it, and it always happens as a byproduct of you showing up. But there was no target where I'm like, once I reach 10 million in annual revenue, I will be happy. I don't have that in me. I am grateful every day for everything that I have, and there is so much abundance already. I'm allowing my obedience to lead me to the next level, but I'm not in a rush and I'm enjoying the view at every step. So that's kind of like my guiding anchor and metric. So started the year and I like let my friends know that I'm like, yeah, I don't really, is it me? I was even in there's another mastermind, like pretty much all of the top. Black business coaches who are women. And I had to like remove myself. I was like, hey, y'all, it's nothing personal, but I just don't have goals and y'all do. So I'm gonna just, I'm gonna let y'all take it over because I started to feel like, yeah, I'm like, I'm not adding to this space and I just needed time to be with myself. And I realized, entering perimenopause, figuring out my ADHD dosage, like all of that was happening. And then acclimating to Bangkok life, it was a lot at once. Um, but yeah, I think just having that space and margin to like just exist. And it's not that I was plateauing, but I was rebuilding a foundation for my next growth spurt. And every 5 years, I've had this massive spike in like visibility and fame and opportunities. And so I'm mindful that I'm in my fifth year of that happening. So I'm like, okay, well, it was almost like I needed to hibernate again and get to a place where I felt safe enough to be seen. And maybe like a month and a half ago, I sent a newsletter where I was like, all right, y'all, I'm done hiding. And I got so many responses of like, what do you mean? You've been posting for all these years. You haven't hidden. And I was like, oh, you have no idea what I'm actually capable of. And if you have ADHD, you know that you've been able to get away with not mediocre, but kind of doing what everyone else is doing. But our optimal level, how we can actually operate, is very high. We are very high functioning. So this is me operating at like what I believe is like a normal level, or I don't want to say basic, but yeah, this is my this is my baseline. So to other people, it might look like a lot, but this is how me at baseline level operates. So it feels good to be back at my baseline. Um, yeah, so I'm just enjoying it. Okay, so back to tangent aside. So YouTube and LinkedIn, I told myself, LinkedIn, I'm going to figure it out. YouTube, I put a pin on it. I was like, okay, right now, YouTube, I can commit to doing my video podcast. So when I was in Bangkok, in the first condo that I got was like this wraparound. I felt like I was living on in a globe ball. Like you could just look at all those episodes. All of those episodes are filmed there. And I was like, okay, I am ready to be back on YouTube. So I filmed 14 episodes. These are about half-hour episodes in 2.5 days. And what was great about that is I allowed myself to batch content for the first time in a way that I hadn't in the past. And I get it now. I'm fully a believer. I was someone who it took me almost 20 years to understand the power of batching. I, up until that point, had only posted when I felt motivated, had only posted when I had something to say. Even then, like on Instagram, I still averaged 1.2 posts a day every day for 14 years. I posted over 6,300, I think at this point, posts. It's a lot in the 14 years that I've had my Instagram account. So the average is still like very high. And it's not to say that I've posted every day because I've taken, I think my longest creative sabbatical was like 4 months. But because the volume of my posts on some days was like six and 10 and three, it balanced out and it evened out. So yeah, with YouTube, I just told myself I'll start with my video podcasts. So I was doing about 2 episodes a month on average, and I wanted it kind of season three to last for the rest of the year. Um, I think in the last couple months, I've only posted 1 episode a month, but it's been nice because when I want to post something that is a part of like a series, I know that I have that to edit. So I've been slowly going through and working through that. And I really enjoyed that. Like, I really appreciated the process of scripting out a podcast episode, recording it, editing it when I had capacity, and then putting it out there. So I started to feel more confident in YouTube based on that strategy. And then again, when the creative reset, when I wanted to relaunch it and I wanted to do it differently, I told myself, I'm going to use a different platform other than Instagram. And so I look at YouTube and I'm like, okay, what would it look like for the first 5 days? Maybe I just, you know, record a few videos. And this creative reset was taking off so much. And I was pretty much talking about like page two of, or chapter two of the creative reset, and I'd make a video about it. So my strategy then was to basically give out the first 30 days of like the creative reset for free. It's like 90 days total. So I'm like, okay, if I do that, then it's showing people kind of a preview of what to expect. And for those that don't get it, they at least get some type of help with their clarity and strategy. And then the more I was going through the creative reset, I was like, oh, there's so much. I wonder how much of this chapter I should cover and this chapter. So when it was starting to get to like day 20, I was like, man, there's probably still so much that I won't be able to cover. So let me start aggregating questions from the public, just in case like there's some overlap in the content. And if there's just something that I'm not currently talking about. And I think one of the best things that you can do is just actively ask people what they want, because they'll tell you. And so these questions that you all are asking, and this one from Ty, like I'm so glad that it's speaking so specifically to people's problems. But if 300 people tune in, it's also helping the 300 others. So it's really cool. So that was my strategy for YouTube. Okay. This is getting very long-winded. So to wrap it up, Ty, authenticity and strategy as a creative must be must feel like a dance, like a 1-2 step. You cannot be only authentic. And I always think of the example of like, you don't want an authentic pilot because if a pilot is tired, you don't want him to say, hey y'all, just gonna let you know, didn't really feel like flying today, but gonna do my best. You don't want a pilot who authentically will tell you that they're not feeling like flying and you're on a plane with 300 passengers. We don't want authenticity from pilots. We want to hear loud and clear where we're going, the time that we're going to get there, when to expect turbulence. Okay, authenticity does not belong in airplanes. So, that said, it's similar to creators. If you are telling people every day you feel tired, you hate social media, you're annoyed by the algorithm, everything sucks, you're tired of posting, you don't want to post anymore, learning the platforms is too much. If you are constantly, but authentically, um, talking about what's really on your mind, you will lose people. So the strategy piece comes in when you recognize, okay, I'm feeling this way, but strategically, it would make more sense if I package this way. This is the story. This is the lesson. This is the content format. How you're feeling is not always content. What you want to say is not always the smartest thing to say. So authenticity and strategy is like you taking what you feel and turning it into something that benefits other people. If you are just complaining because that's how you authentically feel, that doesn't really benefit anyone unless you're holding space for people to vent. So yeah, for me, it's not something that I have to consciously think about. I think there's been so much practice over the years to where most things just belong in a journal. And I regularly journal. So I'm okay with, um, I don't know if y'all can hear the dogs in the background. Yeah, so I'm okay with you know, processing in private and then figuring out what the lesson is. All right, y'all. That was a lot. But I hope you clocked the many things that I shared. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you would like more, of course, the product description. No, the description. There's a description box somewhere below this video. You can check it out for ways to work with me deeper. My favorite product that I've created is called mycreativereset.com. And what I love is that it applies to the stay-at-home mom, the entrepreneur, the college professor. There's something in there for everyone. And ultimately, what I think it actually does is it helps you live a better life and tap into your dreams again. I think all of us have dreams. Most of us are afraid to admit them because we don't want to say it out loud because then it has to actually be pursued. And so we keep it quiet. We think about it when we sleep, but we don't let anyone in. And this is kind of like your invitation to be okay dreaming out loud again, because that's all I've done all my life. And it's led me to a pretty cool place. All right. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.